what can people expect here on Thursday?
Well, we're opening up our first ever spring edition of the State Fair of Louisiana. This is actually our 114th State Fair that was supposed to have occurred in the fall of 2020, but due to the height of the pandemic, we were unable to open the fall fair. So we were recently approved in early March to open a fair, and statewide fairs and festivals now can open under certain guidelines. So we had been planning last year in the event that we were able to open this spring that we would have our first ever spring State Fair of Louisiana, and that opens this Thursday at 12 noon, and it runs April 29th through May the 9th.
So will this be the full fair like with the same amount of rides as in the fall?
Almost. Most of the big important pieces of the State Fair are here. We have a full carnival midway with rides and games. A few less rides than the fall, but there will be at least 40 rides here, which is still a substantial carnival midway. We've got a full food midway of all types of unique fair foods that are setting up now. And then we also have indoor commercial exhibitors. We have a cattle show for our youth the first weekend of the fair. We have several free attractions, Nerveless Knox Thrill Show, Pirates Parrot Show, crazy animal races, a lumberjack show. We have street entertainers, Dallas the Fire Guy, Nick the Escape Artist, Flo the Clown, Rocket Robot, and we have a music stage and concerts lined up all throughout the fair, using a lot of our local talent during the week and some more regional and national artists on the weekends. The concerts are free with your gate admission into the fair. So are all the free shows I mentioned a minute ago. They're part of your admission. So most of the key components of the State Fair are here. There's some things that we're not doing this spring, like a rodeo, our full-blown livestock show we're not doing this spring. Competitive exhibits we're not doing this spring. We have cooking contests and such during the fall, but most all of the major pieces of the State Fair are here, and we're going to have a full midway full of food, rides, and games.
So how do you expect to protect everybody as they enjoy themselves with all this stuff going on?
Obviously, COVID-19 pandemic is not over, so we are following the rules that the state of Louisiana has put in place for fairs and festivals to open, and some of those rules include face coverings. They're required inside and outside at fairs and festivals. You're really only supposed to take them off if you're eating or drinking beverage. Another thing that's a little different, alcohol sales and consumption are confined to a beer garden rather than walking around the fair. So we'll be setting up beer gardens around the bars here. We will have sanitizer stations all throughout the fair. We've had those in the past, but we have increased the number of the sanitizer stations. We have signage that will be throughout the fair reminding folks to social distance and the face coverings. So even at like the shows, when we put our bleachers out, we're going to put markings on the seats to remind people to social distance as well. And we're just real thankful to have the opportunity to get some sense of normalcy back and to bring families back out to enjoy the fair together. But we do ask for the public's cooperation. We all have to work together to ensure health safety for everyone, and we ask that the public do their part as well and follow the guidelines. And we have signage reminding people of the guidelines at our entrance gates and in several locations throughout the fair as well.
And my next question is, which is a lot of people's questions, what are you going to do about safety? Shreveport has amped up in crime, so what are you guys going to do to make sure people are protected while they're here?
That's always an important factor at the fair because the fair is here for families to enjoy, and if crime is always a concern of ours, and we have a very substantial Shreveport police force that works the state fair, and they're here throughout the opening hours, and they're also here even when we're closed at night and such. And most of the police officers working the fair are in uniform, but from time to time Shreveport Police also sends task forces throughout the fair that may be undercover as well. And We have private security hired, and we will be using metal detecting wands at our entry gates every hour that we're open. So do expect to have a metal detector go over you before you enter. And we're also asking the police to try to increase patrols around the fairgrounds and such. So we spend a lot of money on security, but it's very important to us, and we feel like we have all the correct measures in place to ensure safety to the best that we can. And one other thing, typically we close at 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday nights. For this spring fair, we're closing at 10 p.m. every night. So we also think by not staying open too late at night, that might also curtail any problems that could arise. So we ask you to come out, have fun with your families, and anyone that's intended on any type of nonsense, leave that at home.
And what would you say to those families who are kind of concerned, just because some of them are saying, why don't we just do the fair somewhere else? But this is the fairgrounds.
This is the fairgrounds. We do not have this infrastructure somewhere else. It takes quite a substantial infrastructure to bring in and be able to hook up to utilities, all of these concession trailers, and this is our home. It's been our home since 1906. So, it's a great location. It's right here on Interstate 20. It's in the center of the city. Shreveport, the city of Shreveport's always been a good partner to the State Fair. So what I would tell families, though, when you come out to the fair, we're fenced off. We have a big police force here, and we generally do not have the problems that sometimes you hear rumor mills of inside this fair. We've even for the past several years have not really had problems inside the fair. There's been occasional fights and such like that, but the best time to come out, in my opinion, is come out during the week, during the daylight hours, maybe stay until the sun goes down to see the lights and such. And if you do have a concern about safety, maybe don't stay till closing time on Saturday night, but we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have a huge police force here, and safety is a top priority, so we're constantly monitoring that. And I can tell you, I have a family with 3 kids, and they will definitely be here.
Alrighty, thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that people need to know?
Well, I just ask for the community's support. We're going to put on a great show for you, and we ask that you follow the COVID rules and come out and just have a good time, and we can get through this and have a successful event. And this is really the first really large event other than the Bayou Classic that we just had. And we had a lot of activity in the city for the Bayou Classic, and there weren't really any problems at the official Bayou Classic events a week ago. So we can have this state fair, and we can have it in a safe manner. It just takes everyone to work together for the good of all.
Alrighty, and thank you.
Thank you.